Hi everyone, it's Desiree and I am here with Birch Press Design and another design team project, and I'm going to focus on these three dies. Now they are called the Autumn Breeze Plate dies, and believe it or not, this is a layering die set. So this is the top, this is the middle, and this is the bottom. So A, B, and C, as we can see. So when I first saw these, I'm like, head tilted to the right, with eyebrows in question mark. So, but then I started playing around, and one of the things that I like to do when it comes to layering dies is cut them out on white cardstock or scrap cardstock first. Okay, and here, and I'm grabbing it now, here is where I did just that. So you've got this one here, there's that one, and then this one. So this is what C looks like. You've got some great embossing going into that panel. Here is the center one, lots of holes going on there. You know what that means. And then here is layer A. So when we put these three on top of each other, this is what this will look like. Now, you really can't see it, but some items are layered. You see those etched pumpkins down below. You lose the leaves that are underneath. But again, it's creating the dimensional layer. Okay, so I am going to show you, or I was just having a lot of fun with this layering set. So there's going to be a total of 5 cards in this video. So let me get my supplies. I'm going to take care of all of the die cutting, and the paper that I'm pulling out are my inked smushed backgrounds that I have collected. I love doing ink smushing. If I remember, I'll link to a video up there or down there, or I'll probably forget. So just keep that in mind. On videos that I did on ink smushing, and there are always certain colors that I love to use when it comes to that. So I'm going to choose my fall colored panels, and I'll show some of the ones that I don't use, or some of the ones that I have extra, but I'm not going to show you the ink smushing in this video. All right, I know, boo, but I do have other videos with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all my supplies, I'm going to get all my die cutting done, and I'm going to show you 5 different ways that you'll be able to create cards using these 3 plates, or maybe one of the plates alone. All right, so we'll be right back. Okay, so I think I grabbed everything. I'm sure there's something that I forgot, but here are just the panels that I have left. So this, of course, is ink smushing. That one is as well. So is that one. That's an ink smushing. That's an ink smushing. And that's an ink smushing. These 2 are watercolor. Now, somebody's going to ask, well, how do you know? These have the splotches. And I'm actually going to the edge of the watercolor or Bristol paper. Now, this is Canson XL watercolor that I used, and it's also the Arteza premium watercolor paper that I used. I can tell because of the texture. I know that's Arteza, and the others, this one's Arteza as well. These were done with Canson. So, and all I do is I take the 9x12 sheet and I cut it in 4. That gives me 4.5 by 6. The colors that I used, so for these I used my Distress inks. So I used crushed olive, forest moss, fossilized amber, ground espresso, aged mahogany, broke out the new crackling campfire, which I absolutely love, and then finally I'm looking at it here, Dusty Concord. those are the colors that make this. Now, of course, these are just the 2 greens and the yellow, the crushed olive, forest moss, and fossilized amber. This is some of the leftovers from the aged mahogany and the campfire and the yellow, and then I've added some purple and the browns. These are just the yellow campfire and aged mahogany. Beautiful mix. Same thing with these, campfire, aged mahogany, the fossilized amber, and I added in some of the forest moss onto that one. This, lots of aged mahogany, lots of crackling campfire, and then a little bit of the ground espresso to bring that in. And then again, just the 2 greens, the forest moss and the crushed olive. Now, this is a 2-layer. To get these splotches to stay on top, especially for like this one, for this one, and also this one, you must make sure your layer, in between each layer, make sure it's dry. And you won't get as much mud. Okay? So I'll do another video at some point on ink smushing. It is my favorite technique. I shouldn't say it's one of them. It is my go-to for backgrounds. I love creating it in backgrounds. I wish there was a way to, well, there is. I figured it out, so I'm going to keep you hanging on that. I'm sorry. Yep, mean. I am. So I know these are watercolor because, again, I tape them down so I have an edge. So you can see just how the watercolors just go together. Now, I use the same distress inks on these as well. All right? So I've got all the die cutting done. I've pulled in some solid colors as well. So let's get started layering our cards. Again, we're going to make a total of 5. So let's start with our first panel. So these are the 3. This is A, B, and C. So now we are just going to start layering. So I'm going to put my glue to the outside. And then I'm just going to come in all over on the inside. I'm not going to be precise because since I'm using the liquid adhesive, I will be able to get this to adhere down. And I'm just going to layer this right on top and make sure my edges are matching. Wherever the glue comes out, it will dry clear. So you can see, again, you have all of this openness. That's why I'm getting glue all over. But that's okay. So now I'm going to add my glue to my purple. And then I'm just going to put some dots in the center just to make sure those areas are going to be secured down as well. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place this on top of my orange. So I went with a deep, rich purple, a nice olive green, and a really nice orange. Now, these cardstocks here are by Stampin' Up. I am a fan of the Stampin' Up papers. I really like the weight. I love the color choices. This, I believe, is moss green. That is pumpkin pie, and the purple is eggplant, if I am not mistaken. I will have them listed down below. So that is our first panel. And I am going to back this with this red. And I think they are just some beautiful, beautiful fall colors. Now, I could also go with a deep maroon. But I do kind of like this one. Just a little bit lighter, kind of pulls those colors out just a little bit. So I'm just going to trim this one down to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to keep that close because I'm sure I'm going to be doing that again. All right, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my glue all the way around the outside. And I'm just going to add it throughout the back. Now, when I cut this to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, it does match that panel perfectly. So these panels are the full front panel type. Now, I am a little bit crooked on this, so I'm just going to take my scissors, my long shears, and I'm just going to cut in on an angle, and I'm going to cut that edge away. And I'm going to put this onto our standard A2 size card base. That was a lot of scratching sounds going on there. And I'm going to press down. All right, now I'm going to be adding some jewels. I'm going to be pulling in my iridescent because I think these will be great. But this is our first one, just using solid cardstock. All right, I love the detail. We have all of these beautiful details going on when it comes to that. So that is using all 3 layers and what that card will look like. Okay, now let's do the next one. So what I did was, this here is layer A of the die set, and I used one of my ink smushed backgrounds. So I just loved these colors. Now, know that all of these cutouts I'm saving and everything else. I also then used layer C, which is the same cardstock that I used for the previous card to back that. So all I'm going to be doing is taking this and layering that right on top of that. Now, what I'm also going to do is, since I used that white cardstock to show you what these look like, I don't want that to go to waste. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it behind here, and I'm just going to have a little bit more dimension on this. So I am going to glue these 2 sections together. And again, we're only using layer A and layer C now. We're not even going to introduce layer B into this card. And again, I'm just putting glue every so often, and we're just going to match that right up there. So instead of that piece going to waste, I'm using it to give my card just a little bit dimension. Because this one would be absolutely awesomely ridiculous to put double-sided foam tape or foam squares on this. I think I would still be doing it. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put that right on top of layer C. You want to make sure that you're facing the right way. Trust me, I almost put those white ones together upside down. So again, for here, you would use these dots, those impressions, to know which way your dies should be layered together. This here, I'm going to set a piece of purple behind that. So I really thought that the purple cardstock would be really pretty. I don't want to go too close to the edge on each side, only because I know this panel is not completely as wide. It was actually a scrap that I found, so I wanted to make sure that I put that to good use. So I'm just going to put this to the back, making sure that all the holes and all of the openings are covered. And I'm just going to press down, and then I'll just trim off the top and the bottom, again cutting on an angle to hide that back. And then I'll do the same thing at the bottom. Get those scraps out of the way. Again, just going to put some pressure. And now I'm going to put this on one of my standard A2 size card bases. And remember, that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And these right now are top folding cards. So again, this panel will cover the entire front. Just going to put some pressure until my glue holds. And that is our second card. So again, just the difference of the inked smooshed background used as the front, the solid used as the background, and then of course for the backing, the purple, which really just helps those oranges to come out. All right, now that's card number 2. Now remember, from here we have cut out these pumpkins. So what could we do with those? Well, one of the things that we can do, and I have a piece of cardstock here, and I'm going to cut this down. Here are my pieces. So what we can do, and again, I don't want to use or throw these away. These are awesome pieces. So I have the green and I have the ink smoosh background. Now the green, of course, is from our first card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some layering. And I'm going to do some offset layering. Just to give that shadow. And I'm going to keep on doing that. Just a little bit. Helps them to stand out. And I'm using my liquid adhesive just a little bit. That's the beauty of using liquid adhesive. You don't need much. And you can see with all of the cards that I'm making, I'm really not putting a sentiment on them. You don't have to. By not putting a sentiment, the card itself is open for anything. You can make it a fall birthday card. You can make it a happy fall card. I mean, whatever it is that you would want it to be, you can. If you're one that just likes to send notes thinking of you, this could have a nice fall theme as part of that. So there are many times where I just like to make my cards and I don't put a sentiment on. We don't have to. So what are we going to do with these? Well, the beauty of it is I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to trim it down. So I want this panel to be 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place these around. And I'm going to create them or put them in the kind of like create a corner type image. And I think that is what I'm looking to do. So I'm going to set those like that. Now, I am going to put those down there. And then that'll give me an idea. So I'm going to grab my embossing pen. And I want to make sure that I grab the bullet tip. I have a better chance of a thinner line. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll. And I'm just going to create a design . And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that it's going to look good. Right? It's what we've got to do. You know, it's just what we have to do. So I want to get a piece of scratch paper, actually. Here we go. And I'll use this. I love these pads. I get them from the dollar store. And I'm going to grab my gold. My antique gold embossing powder from Altenew. Let's see. Did it hold? Oh. And there you go. Now I'm going to put this back in. All right. And I will be right back because I am going to heat set this. Okay, so we are back. And now I'm going to revisit where I'm going to place these, because I think I want to add some more details. Let's see, and then if I do that, and that, well, I could actually do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is while these are here, I'm just going to pull them down. And I know that one's done. I'm just doing little tiny squiggles. And I'm going to try to keep these in the order in which they are. And we'll do one more. We'll even cross over. All right. And one more time with the embossing powder. So I will be right back. I'm going to emboss it and then I'm going to heat set it. Okay, now I've just got my little squiggles just floating around the air there. So let's then start getting our pumpkins from our die cuts in place. And if you hear my phone about to go off, I apologize. So we'll put that one there. And I am going to use foam squares for each of these. I think they will look absolutely adorable. Okay. This is, with these dies, you're going to get a lot of extra pieces, which I think is really cool. There's a lot of ways that you can create your cards or your scenes with these dies, which I think is awesome. But there are so many combinations, which makes it fun. And then I'll put that one there. So again, just by using the die cuts, you have the perfect way, and I'm just looking for the right background here. I'm loving the green. You have, let's call it a twofer. You actually have the ability, after you make your cards, you have that ability to have another card coming right afterwards, which I think is great. Now we'll see if I have cut this correctly. Wow. Whoa, okay. Yeah, I'm that good. And surprised. So we will put this onto our standard A2 size card base. And this panel does actually measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I thought I was going to be off just a little bit. And there you go. That is card number 3. But it comes from this one, only using, excuse me, only using 2 layers. And I also pulled in the layers from this one as well. So far we're up to 3 cards. Okay, our final one. So what I did was I grabbed, again, one of my ink smushed panels, and this is layer B. So this just very much intrigued me. You know, what could we possibly do on this one, and so forth. Well, a shaker card, absolutely. So I just cut this multiple times. So I used it from when I cut the green. I used this from when I cut for something else, and then this one, I did not let these go to waste. And then the 2 that I had when I was making samples and so forth from the white. So basically, I have 6 layers going on here, and I am going to get these layers together. Now, first, what I want to do is I want to put my piece of acetate down onto this. So I'm just going to put a very thin line of glue, and then just some dots every so often. And this is actually going to be sandwiched in between these layers. So we're okay, we're good. These panels again cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and these acetate panels are cut to that same size as well. So once I know that's on there completely, I will pull away my tissue, and I am also at this point going to rub my anti-static tool on this. So I didn't push any powder out, but I did want to make sure, and I'm going to wipe it down with my, now see how that's sticking? That means it's sticking. So I need to go over with my tool again. And I'm okay with the cloudiness. Now I'm going to pick this up again and see how she's, all right. Let's see if I use a brush just to get rid of some of that powder, because I dropped it. What happens? All right. So we are good. Now I'm just going to dust here as well and keep checking it. All right, you will see why. Now I am going to now have fun and continue to put my layers together. And again, I'm really not focusing on the gluing. I really just need the areas around, but again, the outside, that is what I need to make sure I have the glue on. And then I'll put some glue every so often on these pieces. So we're gonna try something here. Had an idea. And we're gonna put this down. And we're going to do the next one. And again, just putting dots here and there in the center. And we're going to place that one down. So I'm going to keep on doing this until all of these layers are together. Now, you don't have to have this many pieces of cardstock. I just chose to do that because I was using them to have my cutouts. You can just simply use a piece of fun foam so that you can get your dimension. That would be absolutely fine. And probably a lot quicker, because I'm sure this is like, you know, having your teeth scraped or something like that, because this is about as enthralling to watch me put dots and to make sure I have glue everywhere and just hoping that this works. I'm always making sure that these are lined up. And you can see I forgot to take one of those pieces out, and that's okay. That just adds a little bit of interest and a little bit of dimension. And we're just going to go with it. And I just have 2 more. So yeah, the fun foam would definitely be an easier way to do this. But you know, instead of throwing these out, which, you know, you certainly could do, at least I'm using them, which makes me feel better. Plus, I don't like to throw anything away. So I'm just trying to make sure, because I'm going to be using some small pieces, and again, it's just going to be in the leaf area, not the smaller areas. And finally, the last one. And you can see, I mean, these cards aren't really taking a long time. The time comes in when it comes to die cutting, when it comes to cards like this, when you're using these designs. But I do like die cutting. I have a Spellbinders 6 that I enjoy very much. And our last one comes on. And I'm going to press. Okay, so now the magic will begin. This is going to be the background. All right, yes, it's cut a little bit bigger. I'm good with that because I'll cut around it. So what I grabbed is like confetti. So I have my olive green stars from Nuvo. I have my antique copper hexagons. I liked the brown. And then I found this in my stash, glass glitter. So this will be fun. Okay, so here we go. We are just going to add some of this in each spot. And hopefully I don't get carried away. But you all know I will. So hopefully a small spoon is very helpful. Now this glass glitter really moves. And it's probably really moving because I probably still have some static cling, or because it's almost like the stuff is being pulled off of the spoon. Now, what I will say, just so you know, that even if this all sticks to the front, eventually that static cling does go away. All right, next up, some green stars. We're going to put just a few of those in each compartment. All right, maybe more than a few. But, you know, that's just, wow. Okay, so okay, we're just going to go for it now. No sense in being dainty about this or being careful, because that has now gone out the window. All right, let's see if I can get that stuff back in there. Oh, forgot one. All right. Oh, I forgot another one. These are, oh my goodness. Okay. I am making a mess, but you know what? This is fun, right? Right? All right, let's see if I can get some more over there. I am just going to tap this down, just so I know that they're flat. And they are. Everything is very well pushed down into these wells. All right, last one. Even if I don't have any room, Probably none of this will be seen. But I do like making shaker cards. But as you can see, I make them very intricate. Let's see here. See if I can get some more in there. Because that one, of course, was over the top. Okay. So I am just going to push all of this stuff back into where it wants to go, if anywhere. All right. Now we're going to carefully add our glue. Oh yes, here we go. And we're going to make sure that there is a good solid line down the side. No gaps, no holes. Like that's a gap right there. No gaps. And then I will go around each of these pieces carefully. You know, I hope this works. But what's going to be awesome is if it doesn't, you all get to see it and laugh. Oh, think of the fun we'll have. You know, that's the joy in creating, to try new things, to see if they work. I'm sure this will work. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't. As long as I have it along the side. Okay, so here we go. You're going to push. And I'm just going to keep rubbing this to make sure that I have some good connection. And the magic will happen when I turn it around. I hope. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. This will be horrible if I lift this up and it all comes damping out. Okay. So there is some static cling going on, but again, that does die down after a little bit. But you can see, I don't know if we'll pick it up, but it does. It seems like the confetti's really adhering. The glass, not so much. So hopefully that'll die down, but it does look really pretty. All right, so I'm going to clean up these edges. Just going to go down with my nail. And now I'm going to go along the edges with my scissors. Again, cutting on the angle just a little bit. And I'm just cutting into that green cardstock. So it's almost like cutting along the edge of your card, but I'm just going in at an angle. So just coming in just a little bit so that that green does not pop out. I am now going to glue this onto our standard A2 size card base. And making lots of scratchy, yeah, that would have been bad. Scratchy sounds. I'm going to place that down onto the front. So this does have a lot of dimension. And I think that it has just some great colors. And again, it'll calm down. That gold will all come in. Now, you could have just left with the gold, and that's probably what I should have done. But I really do like this. So now, what do we do with all of those pieces? Well, first of all, we saved them. Yes, we did. And here they are. So from all of those panels that I used, these are all of the leaves that we have. Now, these are both from the ink backgrounds that we did, the ink smooshing. And then I've also got them from the solid ones that I used in the prior cards as well. So we have all kinds of options when it comes to this. And yes, you all knew that the vintage photo was going to come in. I know it. Deep down in my heart, you know it. So I am going to go around, not all of these, but I do know I am going to use some of these solid ones just to give some accent. And what I'm going to make is a wreath. We can make a beautiful, beautiful holiday wreath coming around this. So I am just going to start. I'm not even going to draw. Sorry about that. Draw a circle. I'm just going to start creating one with these pieces and filling in as I go. The beauty of ink smooshing is you automatically have the different shades coming in, the different values that you'll see. So by using these colors, you already have your different values, which I think is great. So I want this one to go there. And here's a really sharp yellow one. And I'm going to put that there. I think I want to throw this green one in there. And then I'm going to throw a purple one coming out that way. I'm going to throw another green one coming out like that. And here's a different leaf that I haven't used. So I'll have that coming out like that. Nope, I'm going to have that one coming out like that. Too close to that one. Let's see. Oh, I'm loving that one. Oops. And I'm really going to turn them so that I have those differences. I'll put that one like that. I definitely like that purple. And I'm going to put that one like that. And I think I need a really nice gold or yellow. Oh, there's an orange. I don't have too many oranges going on here. And I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to have a purple. A purple leaf just coming out just like that. Now, I know what you're all saying. How is she going to do this? Well, she's going to try her press and seal again. And she's going to hope that it holds. Yeah. Okay, and I know that's off, but that's okay. So, and these will all be saved because so many more cards you can make with that. All right, now let me get my press and seal. Oy vey. Okay. Now, what I like to do is when I have pieces, I save them. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. Again, me and press and seal, we really don't get along. It destroys things of mine. But I'm going to... Oh, okay, we'll just drop it. We slid. We slid. See, I told you, every time I use it, I just don't have any luck. Now, I'm pushing down on my pieces only. Okay. And I'm going to lift my card. Okay. Now, the question becomes, do I want to do that? You know what? Y'all know what I'm grabbing, right? Yes. I'm going to grab a piece of Desert Storm. And we're going to cut that down. I'm going to cut that down. So 4 and 5 1/4. And then I think I do want going to get a brown piece. So you guys are really seeing and hearing the thought process of when it comes to, I get asked a lot, you know, how do you come up with these ideas? How do you know, is there any prep? Really, I don't do much prep. I do have an idea before I start. I may sketch it down onto a scratch piece of paper. There's a clog going on in here. See, they clog. They really do clog. But I can guarantee you, 9 out of 10, I will change my mind. Something will be different. Okay, so that is my panel. So I made a mat. So I cut this 4 by 5 1/4, and the dark brown is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So now I'm going to put this down. Now I really don't want any dimension. What I really want to do is I'm just going to add glue to each of these pieces and make sure that each piece does have glue on it. So even these small ones, and then I'll worry about the front once I turn this around to adhere this onto my panel, and I will keep my fingers crossed again to make sure that the press and seal does not pull any of my papers. That's usually what happens to me. All right, so here we go. We're gonna pick this up, and I'm going to lose control of this. And I want to see that's where I want to go. Okay. And I'm just gonna push. All right, now I'm gonna start lifting. So I'm gonna ever so gingerly, my fingers are gonna come walking across this. Slowly pulling, see? Mm-hmm. Tuck that back down. Hold on to that. Okay. And I will reuse that again. Now, I'm just going to put some pressure here. Now, the dimension that I'm getting are from the areas that were on the other side, of course this side, that don't have glue, like right here. They're going to curl up a little bit, and I'm okay with that. I like that. But as long as each piece has glue on it, and I'll shake it just a little bit, I think that looks great. Now, if you want to, I mean, you can look at your pieces and say, okay, can I get that in there? I mean, why not? It can continue to fill your piece up. It's a shame that it's the same looking leaf, though. Let's see. No. So you can just have fun by filling in those sections. Oh, that's a real pretty one. And again, that one can go in there, so I think I will put that one in there. I'm just going to put glue on the bottom. We're going to push that down just a little bit. This one here, we can tuck that one here. Again, if we want something to break up, or I can tuck that in there, which we can do. And actually, I'm going to tuck it in right there. So again, don't be afraid to lift up your pieces. You can get this beautiful bouquet of leaves. Again, keeping all of them. I'm going to put this onto my standard A2 size card base as well. And then I'm going to set that down. Press. And I will trim the edges. I mean, you can keep them hanging off of the edge, absolutely. And there's that one. So, as promised, and of course that almost took an hour, but 5 cards. I mean, 5 cards in 1 hour to make them. It took me about 30 minutes to do all of the die cutting, not even. All right, so these are the different cards that you can make. These are just using your solid cardstock, using all 3 dies. This is A and C, and then just a back solid piece. From these 2, I put those 2 together and created a vine. Now, if you don't have the embossing pen, there's, use a, you could just put some gold on the side using a dauber or a makeup sponge or whatever you have, a mini ink blender, and then have them coming off to make that pile there. Here I made a shaker that will at some point calm down with the static cling so that we can see all of the beauty of the gold. I should have just stuck with the gold. I think the gold would have looked pretty, but that's okay. I still like it. I still like the colors. So we made a shaker card using up all those pieces that we've cut. And then from all of the leaves that we have, we created this beautiful wreath of leaves just coming around very easily. Again, using what's in front. I was able to dig in my stash for some backgrounds. So again, sorry the video is long, but again, just showing the process. I get asked that question a lot. All right. So I do hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that I've inspired you when it comes to your layering dies and what we can do with them, how we can build off of them. I was very much intrigued by this set. I think it's got endless possibilities. This is just a few of the things that you can do. All the products that I used will be listed down below, and I will list the Distress Inks colors that I used for these and other products that maybe you did not see me make today. If you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below as well, and I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell so that you know when the next video is live and ready for you to watch. I hope everyone is enjoying their day, and thank you so much for spending this small amount with me today. Well, okay, maybe not small. Yeah, it's an hour. But I do appreciate you stopping by and taking the time to watch the video. Enjoy your day. Continue to stay safe and healthy. But by all means, remember what's most important for me, even if you just do it for a few minutes each day. Always be creative. Till next time, guys.